Hello, art friends. My name is Fleshwood and happy Mother's Day. This is actually my first Mother's Day being a mom, so that's very, very cool. In celebration, I would like to share some creepy mom-related horror stories. So remember to watch this video in the dark with the lights off and your headphones on for the best viewing experience. One last thing before we get started. Mom, happy Mother's Day. I love you. Thank you for watching my videos, and you rule. Love you to the moon and back. Now into the scary stories. My mother truly scared me today. Posted by you/such a coffee cat. I still have yet to regain my breath, but I'll do my best to be cohesive. I just had a freaky day and I'm not sure what to even make of it, but I guess I'll start off with when I got home earlier today. Here goes. It took me an hour to scrub myself clean in the shower. I couldn't believe all the places the dirt had gotten to. There were even a few places I had to give up trying to clean. It was like it was embedded in my skin. My clothes were filthy too, of course, so I wrapped myself in a towel and slipped out of the small bathroom. The hardwood was cold under my bare feet, still hot and swollen from the shower. I made my way down the hall and into my bedroom, quietly shutting the door behind myself. The towel had already lost its warmth, so I dropped it in the doorway and walked over to my closet. There were lots of empty hangers where my clothes usually hung. My mom had probably just gone on one of her rampages and thrown them all in the laundry. She really went crazy about dust, the germaphobe that she was. She'd lose her shit when she saw the button-down I'd just ruined. I chuckled, looking around the room for something to wear. There were boxes I didn't recognize on the floor, and my bed was made. I certainly hadn't left it that way, but I wasn't complaining. If she thought she was getting rid of my stuff, though, she had another thing coming. I stacked a few of the boxes to get them out of the way, and found a small pile of dirty clothes under my bed. Aha! I cheered to myself, pulling the pile out and inspecting each item. Nothing smelled too bad to wear, so I slipped into an old tee and my favorite sweatpants. I almost left the towel on the floor, but thought better of it. I was so tired, I did not want to fight today. So I picked it up and walked it to the linen closet, tossing it in the communal laundry basket. Lazily, I made my way to the kitchen. I was starving, and the walk home had me craving comfort food. Mashed potatoes or barbecue chips or anything savory and filling, honestly. I felt like a gas tank running on empty. I wrenched open the door to the pantry, mouth already watering. As I stood there, staring at the numerous chip bags and boxes of crackers, I heard a car door shut outside. After that, the front door squeaked open, and a pair of heels made a few initial clacks on the wooden floor. I briefly heard the jingle of keys leave the deadbolt. "Hey Ma, is that you?" I called out, perusing the unfamiliar snacks in front of me. Seriously, had she gone on another food craze and tossed all my food too? She must have been off her medication or something. I made a mental note to call her therapist next time I had a moment. I didn't hear any following footsteps or a response. Just one quiet thud, like a light leather bag on wood. Maybe she didn't hear me, but why was she still standing in the doorway? Something seemed off. Frowning, I closed the pantry and shuffled over toward the living room. "Ma, you good?" I asked, furrowing my eyebrows in concern. If she really was off her medication, we were in for a rough night. When she got into one of her fits, there was no reasoning with her. I rounded the corner cautiously, wringing my chafing hands. The thick oak door was wide open. My mother stood in the doorway, one manicured hand lingering on the handle and the other over her mouth. Her pristine white designer purse was on the floor by her feet. I could never remember the brand. I was terrible with names and stuff. She always insisted it was something to be proud of, though. Her cherry red nails sharply contrasted her pale skin, currently with an almost gray tint. She had a wild, grief-stricken look in her eyes. I felt my stomach drop in fear. "Did something happen at work?" I asked her, sliding my feet forward a few steps. I didn't want to move too quickly. She looked like she could puke in place or shoot me any second. "Please, Ma, you're scaring me." Her wild green eyes welled with tears, one spilling over before she lowered her hand, shaking, from her mouth. Without letting go of the door handle, she took a step forward. We didn't break eye contact, standing there and staring at each other in silence for a long moment before she finally spoke. "How?" she stammered. "How did you get out of the ground?" My mom won't stop crying. I now know why. Posted by U/Rose Reese. With each passing year, the holidays get less and less joyful. It's not due to lack of gifts or anything like that. My parents have always babied me since I'm the only child. It's more so the acquired knowledge you get as you grow up. You're less naive than the previous year. Christmas, for me, is a depressing time. It's the time of year when you long for having that childhood thrill and innocence back. Knowing that time doesn't stop for anyone, especially not me, hits me hard every year. Nonetheless, I get through it and continue on until it inevitably comes by again. This year has been especially hard. My dad died in a car accident a few months back, and my mom hasn't been taking it too well, and neither have I. I love both of my parents equally, but me and Dad had a bond I don't think Mom and I could ever have. He taught me everything I needed to know about girls, cars, sports, just life in general. He was truly the rock of our small family. I try to comfort Mom as best I can, but she usually tells me she's fine and either walks away to her room or tells me to leave her be. I know I probably shouldn't, but I respect her wishes and leave her alone. And soon after I leave, the sobbing once again ensues. I try to sleep at night, but even in our rather big house, the echo of her cries fills my room. I will admit, it's quite heartbreaking to hear and to see my mom like this. She used to be so full of life, but now, it's like all of her joy died with him. Honestly, I've noticed something creepy about her crying. It happens every single night. At around 10:46, it never fails. The first few times I thought it was a coincidence, but now I'm starting not to think so. A few nights ago, I had finally gotten my head clear enough to sleep before she started up. I managed to get about 2 hours in before I was awakened by her crying. But this time, it was much louder. I instantly jumped out of bed and opened my door to be met with nothing. She was still in her room. I decided I would try my luck one more time with trying to talk to her. The cries were unbelievably loud in my room, but as I exited and walked down the hall, it gradually softened. By the time I got to her door, it was complete silence. I called out to her from outside the room. "Mom, you alright in there?" There wasn't the slightest bit of noise from inside. I knocked on the door and waited a few seconds. Still, there was no response. I pondered whether I should just leave her alone, or if I should enter to make sure she's alright. I stayed outside her door for another minute or so, before deciding to just head back and try to get more sleep. As soon as I entered my room, her hysterical crying instantly started again. I just let out a sigh as I grabbed my headphones and played music until I fell asleep. That was earlier this week, but last night, Christmas Eve, the strangest thing happened. I was in bed scrolling through social media, as usual, when I noticed that it was 10:45. I got out of bed to grab my headphones, laying on the dresser, as I knew she was about to start again. As soon as I sat back down, the clock changed to 10:46, but this time I wasn't met with cries. It was a doorbell. I knew my mom wasn't going to get the door, so I took it upon myself to answer it. I walked down the stairs and into my living room. Upon approaching the front door, the silhouette of a rather tall man in a top hat became visible. There wasn't anything necessarily creepy about him, but seeing that outline outside my door in the middle of the night sent chills down my spine. I would have turned around and went back upstairs, but he already saw me and knows that we're home. Besides, I was sure he was just some man from Dad's insurance company. I opened the door slightly to greet the man at the door. He looked to be in his early to mid-50s, was about 6'2" and quite thin. He looked at me with a smile etched across his face, and stared at me for a few seconds before finally speaking.
Good evening, young man. Is this the Cooper residence?
Yeah? I stuttered out.
I'm Amon Baylor. Pleasure.
He extended his hand to me. I reached mine out as well to shake his hand. As our hands touched, I felt a little jolt and pulled my hand back. He still smiled at me without saying a word, like he was waiting for me to speak or something. Can I help you? I asked, closing the door a little more in case he tried something funny.
Was Mr. William your father?
I paused for a second, feeling a tight pressure in my chest. Yeah?
In his last moments, I gave him a choice. He could die now and allow me to take his soul, or he could try to survive at the hospital, die, and forever float in nothing. He chose to come with me.
That pressure in my chest started to fade as my eyes were soon blinded with tears. I didn't say a word. I closed and locked the door in the man's face and watched his silhouette fade in the darkness. As I turned around to walk to my room, I ran into something that made me gasp and fall into the door.
Him giving his soul to me gives you the chance to take an offer as well.
I screamed for my mother as loud as I could, as I leaned against that door in fear. I couldn't move. No matter how much I wanted to, I was stuck. His smile never left his face. I called for my mom again. Mom, call the police, there's an intruder.
She can't hear you. No one can. This is between us two. I'm not here to hurt you. That's not my job. I just require a yes or no for my offer.
Who are you?
Your ticket back to the way things were before the accident.
I looked at the man. His smile finally faded, and a look of sincerity came across his face. He continued to speak.
Do you want your mother to keep crying?
No. What's the offer? His smile showed again.
I can send you to a time where your dad is alive.
Won't he still die again on the same night? I asked.
Yes, I can't change fate. That's his jurisdiction. He will still die in a car crash, same date, in this time. However, I can send you endlessly. You won't ever have to adapt to change again.
His? I asked.
God's.
The man answered, As he said that, chills went down my entire body. I'm speaking with Satan. I figured, but him confirming it made it so much worse. What's the catch? I asked, regrettably.
None. You simply hand your soul to me. You will live out the rest of your days happy with your family.
But I go to hell when I die? A genuine look of concern displayed on his face.
Hell?
He asked.
There's no hell.
You're lying. That's what you do. You deceive.
There is no hell, I can assure you. The hell you speak of is where you are now.
So, is heaven real?
Yes, God created a kingdom for the souls of his believers once their mortal body dies. There's a gamble though. If you don't go to heaven, your soul floats in emptiness. That's where I come in.
You?
I offer eternal life as well, on earth. There are no flames or endless burning. It's just simply life forever as a human.
So, Dad, he
offered his soul so he could stay with his family. He was hoping you would take the deal too, so he could be with the one he loved the most.
What about Mom? Where is she going to go? What's going to happen when she notices I'm not here?
Your mom has taken the offer already. What you hear crying at night is nothing but a loop in time. That's why it ceases whenever you're near. That's why your mom doesn't answer you. It's because she exists in a different time. That's why she can't hear you.
So, if I opened the door the other night?
You would have been met with nothing but a shell of her.
Her body?
Yes, her soul was long gone already.
I felt so many emotions at one time. I was sad that not only one, but both of my parents were gone. I was happy I could see them again. I was scared that Satan himself were standing right in front of me. I was upset that heaven would no longer be an option. I mean, we were never a religious family, but I always thought that one day I would hand my life to God. I guess if I take this deal, that could never happen.
Do you accept the offer? Do you want to be with your parents again?
I want to, but
I will be back tomorrow to offer one last time. I can see you're conflicted. It is your choice, remember. You can still get to heaven. It's a chance you take.
With that, he vanished before my eyes. I opened the door and he wasn't outside either. I could hardly breathe. I was so tense. I finally caught my breath and headed back upstairs. As I entered my bed, the most spine-tingling sound filled my ears. My mother's crying. It didn't bother me for too long, though. I was emotionally drained and fell asleep almost instantly. This was last night. It's Christmas Day now. I woke up earlier today, and since then, I've been weighing my options. It's now 10 o'clock p.m. I have 46 minutes to make my decision. I'm writing this so you all know what happened to me if I'm suddenly not here anymore. I decided to be with my family. Forever. The last story that I have for you in this video is kind of a lighthearted one. Enjoy. My mom hired our neighbor to act like a masked murderer the first time she met my college girlfriend. Posted by u/inkyboy1522. Okay, so my mom has always been a sadistic person. She played dead once for 45 minutes on April Fools when I was 7. I watched It for the first time at 6 and was basically force-fed Stephen King books from the age of 9. I love my mother, but she's a mental woman. So I had been dating this girl for about 2 years in college. We both attended the University of Alabama, and she lived about 5 hours away from my mom, who lived on a small island in South Alabama called Gulf Shores. My girlfriend had wanted to meet my mother for a few months, so we decided to go visit during Thanksgiving break. We arrive and everything seems normal. I have a pretty big family and everyone was home. I was sent on a beer run. I know why now. And my fiance stayed and chatted with the family. I arrive home 20 minutes later to a crying fiance and a hysterically laughing mother. I immediately run up to her and ask her what's wrong. My brother and sister are also outside and laughing hysterically, literally in tears laughing. She tells me, "While you were gone, everyone went upstairs except for me and your mom. I hear a knock on the window and just thought it was you trying to scare us. Your mom goes outside to look and a man in a mask grabs her and throws her inside. He was holding a huge knife to her neck. I still thought it was you, so I ran over to the guy and took the mask off. It was someone I had never seen, and I asked your mom if she knew him, and she said no. So the guy threw your mom to the ground and came after me. I was crouching in a corner and screaming, begging him not to kill me. That's when I heard your mom laughing, and I asked her why she would be laughing at a time like this, and she said, 'This is our neighbor Chase. I asked him to play a prank for me.' I was so scared I ran outside and threw up. About 2 minutes after she got sick is when I pulled up, my family in tears. Not all happy ones. I said, 'Welcome to the family.' We broke up about 2 years later, but she and my mom have stayed in contact at least once a month for the last 10 years. Great girl, just not my girl." So that is all of the mother horror stories I have for you in this video. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry I didn't post this week. Been kind of busy with commission work, so hopefully you missed me at least a bit. And thank you so much for watching. Have a really beautiful Mother's Day. Please show your mom some appreciation, because boy, it is not easy. Yeah, it's not easy at all. So please, just tell her, "Mom, I love you. I appreciate you and I love you." Thank you so much for watching, art friends. Until the next video. Bye.